All right, hello and welcome to today's 7th grade civics class. Today we are going to be discussing um, the principles, functions, and organizations of government. By the end of this lesson, what I would like for you is I'd like for you to be able to analyze the structure, functions, and processes of the legislative, executive, and judicial branches. By the end of this, you're going to be assessed on the different roles and responsibilities. The thing that I can tell you from a personal standpoint is that I learned all about these branches and roles of government when I was young, and it hasn't been until recent years that I've really had to relearn them to understand them because so many things in our world have been changing. We're going to go further into that when we extend from this. But right now, I just want to get a basic understanding of the different roles that the legislative, executive, and judicial branch have. If you go to the learning portal, you'll see that there is a template for you to download to complete this assignment. An important thing that you would need to understand is that your grade is going to come from both completing this template, but completing this template is going to act as a helper for you because you're going to also need to complete a quiz that accompanies this assignment. You can use this graphic organizer on the quiz. So if I'm you, I'm going to get a grade on the graphic organizer, but then that graphic organizer is going to be something I can use on the quiz. And since the quiz is timed, you're going to want to have as much information organized in a way that you can understand it so that you can do well on the quiz. So this to me is an importance of, yes, what I want you to understand is, yes, I could pull up a website that would have all this information on it. Or if I take from the website and I pull it into a document that I know that how it's arranged, it's going to make it very easy for me to be able to take the information and apply it in the quiz. So if you will download, make sure you have got your template. And after you get your templates, there is a website that I'm going to be using for this lesson. And the website I just put in the chat there. But in the website, you have information on what the 3 branches of government do and how they work together. Things that you're going to need to do are you're going to need to know where these people meet at, who are the members, and who are the responsibilities. Depends on your method for how you like to work. For some of you, you're going to want to read this and pull the information, and that's fine. That's a fine way of working. But just so that I know that we're covered, and so that I know that there's a much more colorful way of showing this, I'm going to show you a little quick video on the branches of government, and this should help you fill out the information. You can literally watch this and use your speaking and listening skills to fill out the document and organize the information. So I'm going to let the video play for you, then we're going to review a little bit about what we found out. I let the video play, parentheses. What the video is going to show, and this is like a 3-minute video. This is obviously not based on reality. I'm just trying to give you a snapshot of the different resources I'm giving them to look at. So I've got something visual for visual learners or audio for people who just want to listen. And then there's also all the text here for my readers. But after doing the video, what I'd like to do with the students is I'd like to go through and give them time to fill out their own. And at this time, what I'm going to probably do is some of my more advanced students. So say Elijah, Ariana, Brianna, Cohen. These are probably going to be kids that can work at this by themselves. Some more of my proficient students like Sarah, Alicia, Braylon, Micah, and Gage, they may need a little bit more help on this. My non-proficient students, I may need to buddy up with a proficient or advanced students, or I may need to create a small group setting for them, of which I might go through and help them pull this information from various sources, from the document, from the website that I provided. Now, as an added, I'm also going to give them a couple of images that help give the circumference and all the ingredients of each branch as needed, if they need a quick check on this. So after we are defining and looking at the different branches of government, the next most important thing to do is to go back and try to help them answer and look at the clues, keeping in mind that, guys, we could do this through internet search. We could do this through this graphic organizer gives you a little bit of a head start on giving you the pictures of where these people meet as a clue. So this is obviously the Capitol building for the legislative branch, the White House for the executive branch, and the president. The judicial branch is a courthouse. And then the members of the legislative branch, I'm going to go into the Senate and the House of Representatives, the executive branch going into the president and his cabinet, the judicial branch going through the courts, Supreme Court, appeals courts, etc. And then lastly, we'd go into defining and discussing the different responsibilities. Now, that lesson to me is not something that can take place in 10 minutes, but I'm just trying to give you a wealth of how I might try to cover this subject matter. So after we filled out this graphic organizer, the next step is going to be to drop them the link for this quiz. This quiz is going to be listed right here, but I've also listed it in the template of the assignment. So I may ask you guys whenever you're ready. This is due by, let's say today's Friday. Let's say you have to do this by Monday at midnight. I'd like you to try to have your graphic organizer complete and then try to have your quiz taken. Again, the link for the quiz is in the learning portal, but then it is also, I've listed it in the chat. Now, some reasons or some ways that I could extend from this lesson might be a way to break into current events, maybe talk about some different issues going on with each branch. Something that came to my mind is, and something that made me personally relearn about the branches of government, was the latest decision on the overturning of Roe versus Wade. Now, in explaining to you guys that I want to look at this subject matter and look at this, what's recently happened in our current events, I don't want this to become a contentious debate. I don't want you to press your opinion on anyone else. I don't want you to judge anyone else for their opinion. And the point to this assignment is to understand how the judicial system used its power. Whether you agree to it or don't, is not necessarily the most important. You are allowed to respond to that if you prefer, but you're not required to respond to that, because I know that can be a touchy subject for some of us. But there are two important questions that you guys are going to need to do. Is I want you to look at the Supreme Court deciding that laws are on that decides if laws are unconstitutional. Recently, our nation's been affected in a big way, and it's caused quite a bit of unrest for some people and provided relief for others, and that's the tough thing about the issue. But what I'd like you to do is I'd like you guys to read the following articles and answer definitely the two questions in red on the discussion board. If you need references or sources for which to answer these questions, but before you post your decision, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to read through some of these websites I've provided you with on the decision to overturn it, how it goes. And then I also provided you a depending on the options you decide on, if you want to answer these other questions, one question I asked you is where do we go from this decision and how do we fix or resolve this? Or is there a way? One thing that has brought up has been for people who are against this decision, they've been the idea is that we should start limiting the term of Supreme Court. So you see, in learning about these branches of government, there's so much to learn about the branches of government and how many things that have happened. And these things shake and shimmy as time goes, the opinions on what happens. So the opinions can come and go, but the facts are the facts, and the Supreme Court has the power to do what it recently did. I'd just like you to show me your knowledge on that. Now, as a last 5 minutes, looking at my notes, I've got, as I said, I've got about 4 students advanced, 5 students proficient, and then I've got about 13 students who are not proficient. Some ways to fix that would be to buddy them or do small group instruction. Obviously, extend time on the quiz. But the small group instruction is going to be the best. Maybe create a breakout chat for just these students or allow those students to pair up with someone else. As far as troubles go, there's not a lot of math calculation in this. So Sarah, Alicia, and Jaden should be okay, but most of this is going to focus on reading comprehension, and that's where Luther, Jaden, and Sarah are going to have a little bit more issue. And I believe that covers everything. I'm just glad I got a clear record finally, as much as it was. Thank you for your time. I hope I can work with you guys.